Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever StattoJoe Fan Phone-in. If you want to get involved, uh, I'm just going to send the link into the chat now. If you want to get involved, click the link below. That should take you to the restream page. Once you're there, simply click the link. Make sure you've got your mic on and your camera if you want, or just your mic at least, so I can hear you. And be sure to get your name in and in the waiting room. I'll see you in the waiting room and then come on board. This is going to be a new weekly show. So if you're watching this back as a video, this is just going to be every Sunday night at 8 p.m. when I'm available to, and also after big games. So I'm going to be back here on Wednesday night for the Champions League. After the Champions League semi-finals are over, I'm going to be back on Wednesday night to discuss the big semi-finals. Also, by the way, no pressure in getting involved at all. This is a new concept I'm trying out. I really want this to be the way I go forward from now. I'd love to do more interactive streams with you guys. But if nobody calls in, that's totally fine. I've got loads of stuff to go through myself. So this will be an enjoyable show either way, whatever way you want to look at it. And this is just kind of some of the new changes I'm bringing about to the channel. So the new changes are everything's going to be done live. Everything I do is going to be done live, hopefully if Wi-Fi holds up, because I can do longer form content whenever I'm live. I can also interact with you guys directly, which would be amazing, and hear your thoughts and everything like that. And you can easily watch back then. You can easily watch the videos back when I'm live, so you don't miss any of the videos, any of the content. So in some ways, it's like I'm recording the video, but live, and there's an opportunity for you guys to get involved. But yeah, I'm just going to start with the kind of main news from the week. I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone that this is what I'm going to start off with this week, is the League Cup final between Man City and Spurs. A 1-0 win for Man City, not really a surprise, considering kind of going into this game that Spurs had sacked Mourinho just 6 days before the game. City were always going to be the favourites in my eyes. Spurs were, they were in a perilous situation. You know, they were in a perilous scenario, and so it was never really going to be a surprise that they would lose at all. As for the game itself, I've never seen a more dominant 1-0 in my life. I never have. It was one of those games that Spurs just couldn't get into. Spurs just had no chance whatsoever. City were all over them. First half especially, Spurs were lost. Reguilon was poor. Son was poor. Kane couldn't do anything. It was just one of those games where City just kind of, all that experience, City haven't lost in the League Cup since the 26th of October 2016, right? So this is a team that are used to winning in this competition. It's been like nearly 5 years since they last lost. Phil Foden has played 16 League Cup games and has never lost. He's won 4 League Cups. He's younger than I am, which makes me very sad indeed. So yeah, it was a game that just never really looked like it was going to be anything other than a Man City win. Now let's have a look at the stats, because of course that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Let's have a look. See what we're looking at. We'll see kind of what the crack is. I'll put this on full screen for now, so you can all see them all properly. So first off, before we start anything, let's look at player ratings. So we're seeing that Alderweireld was kind of Spurs' best player, and this is Subs. No, Subs didn't do any better. 7.2 rating. Look at the Man City players. All of them, apart from Sterling, who was poor in my eyes, and Ruben Dias, they were all above 7. Fernandinho João Cancelo, man of the match, 7.9. Interesting. And the subs, yeah, they didn't really make any subs, which is interesting considering that Man City play PSG on Wednesday night. The attack momentum meter is crazily one-sided for a cup final. You're looking at Man City pretty much dominating the game, apart from 2 very short spells for Spurs. What about the stats then? Well, it doesn't look pretty from a Spurs point of view. This side in green's all Man City, and this is Spurs here. Man City dominated possession, 62-38. They had 19 more shots than Spurs, but only 4 shots on target. So like 4 out of 21. It's not great, really. With 10 shots off target, 7 blocked shots. 8 corners to 3 for City. They had 4 big chances. I'm not really sure about that one myself. They missed 3. Even the pass accuracy was good from City, not really good enough from Spurs. And overall, kind of just completely dominated the game. Unsurprisingly so. So that signals kind of, another loss in a major cup final for Tottenham. Just one of those things, really, where they just can't seem to be winning games. In cups, they can't get the cup wins. Haven't won a cup since the League Cup in 2008, and this was their first domestic final since 2015. For those wondering, the link there in the chat is for you to join the stream. So if you click the link, it'll take you to the restream page where you will be able to put in your name, and I'll bring you on. We can have a discussion about whatever it is that you want to talk about. You're absolutely more than welcome. Let me just double check and make sure that's definitely gone through okay. This is the first time I've ever done this. And this is the way things are going to be from now on. Oops, sorry. Yeah, perfect. That's great. So, what does this mean then overall? Well, Man City have won 4 League Cups in a row, and they're flying. So that's great. And I see Luke in the waiting room, so that's great to see. I'll bring you on shortly, Luke. I'm going to chat about Newcastle Liverpool, and then I'll bring you on, and then I'll have more to talk about afterwards. So that's my next talking point then. So the next talking point I have is yesterday's game between Liverpool and Newcastle. A game that Liverpool absolutely dominated the life out of. Absolutely dominated. It was just one of those games where, I'm a Newcastle fan. I've said it so many times over and over again. And Liverpool were all over us. Liverpool had so many chances, and the problem is they can't score goals. Salah scored a screamer after 3 minutes, and then you had Mane missing chances, Jota missing chances, Salah missing chances, Firmino missing chances. And I thought we were going to lose a lot. I really did. I thought it was going to be a big scoreline, and it really should have been. But then we had the VAR decision to give a handball against Callum Wilson, which by the letter of the law is correct, but doesn't make me feel any better. And then we scored in the 95th minute, and I went nuts. So personally for me, I feel like that's kind of relegation kind of sorted, hopefully. 9 points clear of Fulham with 5 games left to go. We've played the same number of games. It would cause some sort of miracle for Fulham to stay up, in my opinion. Here, I'm going to clip this for whenever Newcastle do go down. Yeah, and I'm sitting going, oh, it'll be a miracle. Yeah. So that were my thoughts. I was delighted to see it. Liverpool fans I would say, be gutted. Just with your front four, like you played your front four, still couldn't get the result. So just one of those things. Yeah, I'm going to bring on Luke here and see what he has to say. Let's hope this works. Fingers crossed this works. Let's see what happens. Hello.
All right, Joe. How's it going?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Thanks. Tell me this: where do you think Spurs go from here?
Okay.
Spurs have sacked their manager. They've got a cup final. Ryan Mason's first game in charge. Played a team that on paper looked okay, but in practice played very defensively. Didn't really look like going forward at all. Very few shots on target. Very few shots. Full stop. Should he have played Bale? Should he have played Bale instead of Lo Celso? Kind of just gone for it. But now, where do they go? If I'm Harry Kane, I'm thinking I want to go. I'm thinking I want to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Son, arguably as well, would be a great signing for a lot of clubs. Like, what do you reckon Spurs looks like next season?
This is so difficult. It's been weird because ever since November, Spurs have been a club in constant regression. You know, they obviously went top of the league, and they looked like they were flying. Everybody was like Mourinho masterclass. And obviously they had the good run in the League Cup as well. I think this all starts with the summer for me. Spurs fans are very clear they want Levy out. And I don't know what the problem is with Spurs. But I think the recruitment of a new manager is going to be really, really important. Is Nagelsmann available? Did he get sacked from Leipzig? Is he still
I don't think
there?
he's been sacked. I think he's just heavily linked because
Mm,
Leipzig are second in the Bundesliga. If I,
mm,
it's a difficult one because for him the only way up is to beat Bayern Munich,
mm.
and the German system doesn't really allow for that to happen. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's quite happy to move on.
Mm.
The likes of your Allegri is out there. Would Allegri
Brandon
be
Rodgers has been linked
interested?
with the club as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if
absolutely.
that's a good. I don't know if it'll be a good move personally, just because uh, Leicester suits Leicester really suits Brandon Rodgers because they're a club that don't have massive expectations,
Yeah.
and so whenever they maybe do bottle it with Champions League, for example, it's not that big a deal because they're overachieving anyway. Whereas when
Mm,
you go to Spurs, you've got these massive expectations.
yeah.
Um, so in terms of today's game, I would have started Bale. I think maybe given him 60 minutes and then brought on maybe the Celso or Mura. Uh, there was I mean I think they were just nervous. The first thing Son did was put City through. So I think it was a lack of experience really, and it's certainly from a Ryan Mason point of view. You have the impossible task of trying to manage your team in a cup final in your second game in charge, and you're also only 29 years old. You know, like just crazy stuff. Kane, I think, if he wants to achieve anything, has to leave.
Especially at
Um,
27. Especially at
yeah.
27. He's a few years ago, it's fair enough that he was sticking it out because they got to a Champions League final and
Mm.
they got there and they looked terrible again in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
But he now is in the prime of his career.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to replicate Ronaldo, this is really the last type of year that he could go and do that somewhere else, and go and make insane numbers elsewhere.
Mm.
Nagelsmann going to Bayern, I think, interesting.
Mm.
Bayern, of course, have confirmed that they're getting rid of their manager,
Yeah.
or Flick is
Well,
leaving. No,
he confirmed it
he
himself.
confirmed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
confirmed it. So have Bayern actually confirmed that? Because they don't
I
have
don't
to
know.
sell him. They
I don't
could
think they have.
refuse his resignation. I don't know. I don't know.
So that's exactly the point, Karthik. Man City have just played finals like it's like a regular game for them now, especially in the League Cup. You know, it's the difference. I think in experience. You look at the players in that team who have probably played at least three, if not four, of their last four finals. Just
Mhm.
another regular game. I
Yeah,
just find it. I think what's crazy to me is the way they bottled the FA Cup. Although that could be
yeah.
a Tommy Tuchel masterclass, of course. But
Mm.
um, yeah, I
Well, I
think it's
think
really
in
interesting.
that point, Joe Bale then has to start. Gareth Bale, he's won what 12 trophies or
Yeah,
something at
yeah,
Real
yeah,
Madrid. He knows how to win. Like you look at his final performances, the
yeah,
Copa del Rey a few years back, where he rinsed Mark Bartra on the outside. The final against Liverpool when he came on and scored the bicycle, or he scored the
yeah.
bicycle kick, didn't he?
Hmm.
The 3-1 win. Bale needed to start in my eyes because and he's the type of player very like a Shaqiri at Liverpool who will just all of a sudden switch the game, score a goal like he did before he left Tottenham. Single-handedly won them countless games. Bale
Mm,
needed to start today.
yeah.
With him leaving in the summer, if Kane was to leave, Tottenham are looking a very, very weak squad.
Mm.
Like an Arsenal at the moment, a
Do
very average squad.
you think as well if Kane goes, Son's going to look out because I think Son knows that a lot of the goals that they get is from Kane's performance. Karthik's put in there. He means Kane, so it looks like Mane. He means Kane when he says this. He
Yeah,
says Kane should go to a club that are like Spurs or Liverpool. So like another Premier League club really is what I'm getting from that. Another top Premier League club and not a Real Madrid or Barcelona type club.
Well, the club that's calling out for him is Man City. You look today,
Yeah,
you see the stats just before here. What, 21 shots, like a 4 on target.
yeah,
They need an Aguero replace. Aguero has confirmed he's leaving. They need a
yes,
replacement. Harry Kane or Haaland are the two ready-made replacements. More
hmm
than they would need the likes of an Mbappe, who's again more of a Sterling or a Bernardo Silva type player.
yeah,
So I think City, realistically, I don't think he would want to go to Chelsea. I don't think he would be keen. They have
hmm
three good strikers already. Well, two good strikers and Werner. Kane, I think, would be a good player for City, as Karthik would agree, which is
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Well, I what's you were saying about Bale, and I think having Bale on would make sense to start because most of the players in in the Spurs team played the Champions League final that they lost. That's always going to play in your mind, right? Spurs are not a trophy-winning club in recent times,
Yeah,
so they need to make use of the players that have won stuff. Now, Lloris, maybe it's difficult to show leadership from keeper. He's won the World Cup, right? So
yeah,
he knows what it's like to win the best of the best, the pinnacle of sport, certainly of football anyway. And he can't lead the same way from nets as maybe you could have a commanding centre back in there. I think a lack of leadership really cost Spurs today.
yeah.
Certainly, giving away the foul that led to the free kick was silly, and it wasn't great defending for their goal either. Um, but I don't know where you go here from a Tottenham point of view. I think next season has to be a transition season
hmm
for them. Whether
Yeah,
that's sort of transition ownership, even. Um, but yeah, I think Spurs are
yeah.
probably going to have some issues next season.
I think I
Um,
think if you look at it as well, I would have started Davison Sanchez today,
mm,
as long as he was fit. Let me just check and see, was he on the bench or not? Doesn't seem like he was, so maybe you couldn't start him. But Eric Dyer does nothing for me. Eric Dyer,
he was on the bench. He was on the bench.
he was great.
Yep.
Start him, 100% start him. He's
Mm,
played at a high enough level with Ajax in the past few years to show he knows what he's doing, more
mm.
so than Eric Dyer, whose greatest achievement, arguably in football, is scoring a free kick against Russia in the World Cup for England. You know,
Yeah.
shocking. He's not a good centre back. He can't defend. Him alongside Alderweireld with hopefully could calm down Regulon, who had a shocker today.
Oh, he was terrible
Regulon
today.
really, really bad at left back. Also, would have started Suzuki, similar to
Mm,
Lloris, and a more experienced head who would offer
yeah.
something that the likes of a Højbjerg, who was playing at Southampton, or a
Mm,
Winks, who's come through the academy. One of those could probably drop out for a
yeah.
Suzuki to be playing. But
Great question here from Karthik.
do you think
He's,
Rafa?
yeah. Do you think Rafa could do a job at Spurs?
Well, Joe, you're the man to talk about this as someone
Yeah.
who supports Newcastle, and they had Rafa just a few seasons ago. What
Mm.
did you think of Rafa's performance all in all at Newcastle, providing he got minimal, support from Mike Ashley?
Yeah, Rafa. You're going to get a very similar style of play to Mourinho with Rafa. And I don't know if Spurs fans want that. That isn't the question though. At Newcastle, I would argue that he had a championship level club like team, and really put belief in the fans. Well, first of all, he took us from the championship back up, and straight away, he had never managed a championship before, so that was kind of shows his versatility. And then I'm going to put this back up for the question, just and then we came up and our squad was still rubbish, and yet he was able to get wins against big teams. I'm pretty sure he was in charge when we beat City 1-0. And Liverpool fans thought that we had just won them the league, and then Man City were able to come back. I think they only won by a point.
Yeah,
Um, I get people say Rafa and Steve Bruce have very similar points records, which is true, they do, but Bruce has had far more investment in the team than Rafa ever had,
Yeah.
and yet it's producing the same level of results. Could he do a job with Spurs? I'm going to say yes. I think he would do a good job with Spurs, especially in a transitional period. I think he's the right man to kind of build up a squad and build up a play style. You know, he's just one of those managers that seems to get the respect of all the players.
Yeah.
And I know it was the thing at Newcastle, like players stayed. The reason the players stayed before when we went down was because Rafa was the manager. And I think, especially in Spurs, now here's the thing as well. Another question you could ask is if Rafa stays, or sorry, not if Rafa stays. If Rafa goes to Spurs, does Harry Kane stay?
It's a difficult one to know.
Because
I personally think the main stopping point for Kane leaving is Daniel Levy and only Daniel Levy. Now, even if Kane really wants to leave, he has a contract, and Daniel Levy is a businessman, as we've seen over the last week, especially.
yeah,
He is not a man of his players. He's not a man of his fans. He's purely business. His mind is set because Kane is best for business. Interesting point there about connection with fans. I think Chelsea a couple of years ago are my prime example for this. Frank Lampard, when he came in, I remember chatting to my friends who are Chelsea fans, and they were buzzing. They were so excited. And I remember one of my friends in particular saying to me, I have not watched Chelsea and enjoyed it as much as I have this season in a long time, because Mourinho was before that. And I feel like this is very similar for Spurs. If they were to keep Ryan Mason and he was allowed to have a go for a season like Lampard had the advantage because of the transfer ban.
Yeah.
But if Mason was given a chance to shine for a bit, I think this Tottenham fans would really get behind it, because Mason wouldn't play defensive football. That's what disappointed me most about the game today, was Mason did not take any ownership on the squad. He has just played Mourinho's style of football with Mourinho's system, with leaving out Dele Alli, the same thing Mourinho would have done.
So really interesting you say that, and I feel like I need to cut you in here, because earlier on I was listening to an interview with Toby Alderweireld, and he said that Ryan Mason came to the players with a game plan, and they all signed off on it and said, "Yeah, that's the way we want to play." So apparently, you're right. It was very Mourinho. It was very, very similar, but apparently, it was Ryan Mason came to the players as a group and was like, "Here's what I think we should do," and they were all on board.
That's
which is really, really interesting.
Isn't it? That blows my mind, because you would think you've got one chance at this, a shot in the dark. The last thing you want to do to Manchester City is sit back.
I know.
Shocking.
I think the mindset was we'll get them on the counter because it can be a bit flaky at the back. I think so. I think what they were doing was, I think they watched the Leeds game, because that's what Leeds did. Leeds got them on the counter, and Leeds had 10 men. Let's not forget.
There's one difference there too.
Stuart Dallas. Absolutely, 100%.
Agreed. The
Cookstown Cafe. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was the difference. I think I was surprised. I'm not surprised in one sense. City don't have a striker. They're backing themselves to keep out the likes of a Sterling who can't score goals, and De Bruyne who has the fourth worst finishing in the Premier League this season. I get that. But Spurs needed to take more of an initiative. You needed the likes of Harry Winks. If Harry Winks is going to play, he needs to grab the game by the scruff of his neck, because Højbjerg's just there to scrap. He's your Patrick Vieira, your Roy Keane, the boy who's just sitting there, marshalling the defence and scrapping Man City players. Yeah, I just was disappointed by Ryan Mason, but I do think if you give him longer, he could potentially win the fans back, because there's not many other Spurs fans' favourites out there, unless you're bringing in a Robbie Keane or a Raphael van der Vaart or something like that, but none of them have any experience either.
Yeah, absolutely. What about Arsenal? I know you've got passing interest in Arsenal, and obviously Leno must have had a bet on Everton to win on Friday night. But what is the problem there? Because I think Arsenal fans are getting more and more impatient with Arteta.
They are, and I think rightly so. I think Arteta is showing everything that Frank Lampard showed. He got the fans back on board, like
Yeah.
Frank Lampard did. He got the players back on board, or so it seems.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the results aren't working. They're just he won an FA Cup, he bought himself some time, but league performance has been really, really poor. They might win the Europa League this season. Wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal won the Europa League this season.
Wouldn't surprise me either. Wouldn't surprise me either.
And yet they just have a really average squad of average
Mhm.
players.
Yeah.
They're lacking any. There's no motivation for them to do anything in the
Hmm.
Premier League this season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Well, Newcastle play Arsenal next, I believe, uh,
Okay.
which is actually a game that I'm slightly quietly confident for,
Yeah.
um, because as much as I joke about the state of Steve Bruce and the state of the squad and all that kind of thing, we haven't been beaten our last four games. We drew with Spurs 2-2, we beat Burnley 2-1, we beat West Ham 3-2, and we drew with Liverpool 1-1. And it's Graham Jones has come in and sort of has formed, and they've gone with a more like attacking defensive approach, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Like when
Yeah.
we get the ball, we're a lot more confident with the ball. And I just think that Arsenal are they've got nothing to play for really in the league at the minute. The only thing you have to play for is Europa League. Difficult to motivate yourself for that whenever
Yeah.
you're playing in the semi-finals. You know, that's kind of your main focus now. We play them on Sunday, I think. Might be wrong there, but they'll play the semi final on Thursday and have another one very shortly after. So it's a great time to play them. Um, yeah, I don't. I think Arteta's a bit out of his depth, personally.
Arteta reminds me of that teacher in school who makes everybody have a great time for 35 minutes for a period, gives you all
Yeah.
sweets. Everybody's loving life to be in that class. And then you get to exam time, you do your exam, and every single person in that class answers the question wrong and gets an
Mm,
F.
yeah.
Every single person, because there's no desire. Everyone's having a great time. You
Mm,
look at them, Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, Odegaard's come in and said he's having a great time at Arsenal. They're all having a great time, and they just
yeah.
seem like a bunch of mates who are meeting together, but there's no drive there. You
Yeah.
look at the likes
Absolutely.
of your party has come in, and he's having a party more than he's marshalling the defense. You know, he's
Yeah.
having he's having a good time. He's having a great time, but he's not playing a lot of football. I I think it's harsh because a janitor does a lot of work behind the scenes at a school. I don't think Arteta does that much work.
I think
He looks
Ollie.
what
I think it's harsh on Ollie as well. I think Ollie's been. I think Ollie's
yeah.
good.
I think
Um.
Ollie's done a great job.
Yeah.
He's quietly gone about his business as every
Hmm.
other Big Six team has gone into capitulation, apart from Man City. Man
Yeah.
City have done very well. They're the runaway leaders. Tottenham and
Super League
Liverpool
contenders.
and
Yeah.
Arsenal have all fallen off. Chelsea had fallen off until Tuchel came in. And Man United have quietly got the draws against the big teams, got the wins, and have built up points. They could also very easily win the Europa League.
Yeah.
That's the type of
It's.
thing they could do, no problem.
I think it would surprise me if it wasn't a Man United Arsenal final, but then United are playing Roma, so it's very very dodgy. Just quickly, I just want to plug very quickly. Make sure you've liked the video, the stream, subscribe, and I'm just going to send the link again one more time. If you want to get involved, just click the link below. Um, I've just put it in the chat there. Click that link. It'll bring you into the waiting room. Get your name up, and I'm allowed a maximum of 6 people on at the same time, so you can absolutely just join in the discussion. No problem whatsoever. You're more than welcome. Yeah, I want to move on to Super League stuff. I haven't had a chance to chat with people properly. I did 2 live streams last week about the Super League, and you could clearly see how upset or annoyed I had got about that. Which for me was weird because I'm Newcastle. Like as a Newcastle fan, why should I care? I wasn't going to be involved. I was still going to be in the Premier League. Um, how did you feel about the Super League first of all? And you're a Stoke fan. Luke's a Stoke fan, everyone. So he's got even less of a stake in it almost. But look, how did you feel about it all? And you know, what are your reactions now that it's not going to happen or going through anymore?
Well, first of all, you're all welcome that it's not happening. Single handedly, Stoke City saved the world with that sign outside Stamford Bridge that
Absolutely.
Chelsea fans are saying we'd rather have our cold Wednesday nights at Stoke. Absolutely, you would, because that's a challenge. You love to see it. I was affronted, to be honest, with the
Mm,
Super League stuff. It was disgusting. It was,
mhm,
as I mentioned earlier, Daniel Levy and the rest of them just being businessmen trying to get money in. From a financial standpoint, I totally get it why Real Madrid and Barcelona did it. They are
mhm,
so broke. They have no money whatsoever, and they needed it. Laporta, the president of Barcelona, was elected having said, "I've got a 250 million pound investment." I'm
mm,
starting to think that might have been the Super League. He
mm.
was backing on getting 300 million euros every single year for 4 or 5 years and not being in 1.2 billion debt anymore. And now it leaves me wondering what's going on there. I think I'm very thankful. Stoke have a very, very good owner. Peter Coates and the Coates family are Stoke City locals. They care about the club. They've grown up with the club. They come to every game. Do you know?
Mhm,
They think about the fans. They give away travel for free to every fan that wanted it from the Bet365 stadium. You meet there, you get free bus to any away game. That's the type of ownership we love to see in England.
absolutely. For the
And
fans.
that
For the fans.
for the fans, and that's the type of ownership we're really lacking at the moment in the Premier
Yeah.
League, especially in the big six, because a lot of them are foreign in. They don't get the working class background. You look
Mm,
at Stoke; they're the potters. They built on potteries, all
yeah.
working class men and women who have worked hard to get a break on a Saturday to go and
Yeah.
watch the club. There's a reason we had one of the best average attendances when we were in the Premier League. People were buzzing around the city. You
Mhm,
look at London, there's so many clubs, such a diverse place. There's not the same sort of environment. And so for the likes of your Tottenham, your Arsenal, and your Chelsea, coming from a very, very different background, I
mhm.
get why the owner would be out of touch because the club in general is not like that. You look at your Newcastles, your Sunderlands. If you've watched Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix, you see that epitomized so well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think it's a great point there, Karthik. Fascinating with your man Henry sitting down in front of that camera. It looked like his soul had left his body. He looked emotionless. He
So
gave it. He
emotionless.
gave a rubbish speech. It was fine. Liverpool fans will say it's the best thing ever. Football fans will say fair play to him sitting in front of a camera. Yeah, fair play to him. But it was probably scripted by somebody else. Do you
Yeah.
know?
I was actually just about to ask Karthik what his thoughts were on the John W. Henry thing because I knew his internet isn't good enough that he would be able to join the stream. Um, because there are a lot of people who have forgiven him very, very quickly. Um, I kind of saw through what it really was. Um, and then they go out and they leak. Someone's leaked the Kanate announcement, which had a lot of Liverpool fans excited. And I was going to myself, hang on a second, you're very, very quick here to forget where that money's coming from.
Yeah.
The people that you want out are the ones that are providing the money for this leaked signing. And I'm telling you right now, it's a forced leak. It's absolutely they've been
Yeah.
told to absolutely they've been told to leak that. There's no way it's any other reason.
I don't know if you
Manipulation at its
saw it
peak.
yesterday, Joe. There was an article came up saying FSG reject £3 billion offer for Liverpool. Apparently, just before the start of this year, this all apparently came to head, and they were offered £3 billion, and they rejected it because they wanted to stay involved with the club. It was a Middle Eastern buyer, apparently the likes of a Man City, a
Mm,
PSG, and apart because they love the fans so much. This came out
yeah,
yesterday. That's when I saw it. Notice how it
nice.
didn't come out at the start of the year because
Yeah,
it's a load of rubbish. It's a load of rubbish that they brought in to try and win back some favour, you know?
Karthik said there the Canadi signing was before the Super League, which it probably was. What I mean is the timing of the announcement.
Yeah.
So the timing of the leak was to try and get a bit of positive press into that kind of around the club, get them all kind of hyped up and excited for this new signing. There's been talks of a couple of other signings as well. Um,
Yeah.
it's sad that these guys think they can and they will as well. They'll be able to buy players, and fans will be delighted. They'll be happy about it, and they'll be very quick, I think, to forget. Not all, by the way, not all. Some will be very quick to forget what happened. And yeah, well, so yeah, I think in terms of discussion and things, like I'm happy, and I thought I was plenty. Look, thank you so much for joining me. I'm
My
going to kick
pleasure.
you off. I'm
Right.
going to do I'm going to do a bit more talking, see if somebody else wants to come on, and then yeah. But thank you so much. That was
Lovely
excellent.
stuff. See you
See you
soon, Joe.
later.
Thanks for having
Au
me.
revoir. Au revoir. Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Luke, for joining me there. Yeah, so that was Super League and my rant about that. The Premier League now is shaping up to look really, really nice. I'm just going to quickly show the league table. I'm going to get it up here on BBC Sport, and let's have a chat about the Premier League table. There's West Brom have gone 2-1 up against Aston Villa. Interestingly, where's the table? Here we go. Let's have a look at the table very quickly. So if we look at the table, let me just maximize this, just so you can see what's going on. Man City are top of the league. They're 10 points clear of United, who failed to get a win today against Leeds, and a pretty boring 0-0 draw. Leicester, Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Everton are all within 7 points of each other. What we're looking at there, I think, is potential. Oh, Leicester have a game in hand, actually. That fight for fourth place is going to be really, really interesting, isn't it? Leeds have overtaken Arsenal in the 9th. And we look at the bottom of the table there. So Southampton 15th, Newcastle are 16th now after Burnley's 4-0 win today against Wolves. Brighton in 17th. They're only 7 points clear now of Fulham, and they've played the same number of games. Brighton, of course, were beaten by Sheffield United 1-0 last night. So that was a massive win. Not that it matters at all for Sheffield United, but that was a big win for them. Big win for Newcastle too. For Sheffield United winning, I mean, not we didn't win yesterday, of course. Fulham, current as it stands, Fulham and West Brom are now in the same number of points, just with West Brom's horrendous goal difference being the issue. Chelsea finished 4th, Karthik thinks, with West Ham finishing 5th. So yeah, that's how the league's looking now, with West Brom being 2-1 up in that game. Okay, so why have I turned myself off there? Silly me. Wrong one. That was the first ever phone-in show. For those who had missed the start, I'm going to be doing this every single Sunday. So if you're watching this back as a video, every Sunday I'm going to be doing this live, but also after big games. So Wednesday night, immediately after Man City PSG, I'm going to be live right here on YouTube to do the exact same thing. We're going to talk about both semi-finals. You're so welcome to come on, say hello, and join me. Again, absolute pleasure having it on there. It was easily one of the most enjoyable shows I've done in a long time. Look for podcast ? So yeah, but I've got big plans for the page. I really do. I really want to get back into this properly. Because I have taken a bit of a break and I find it difficult to get back into things. But now, with the end of the season hotting up, and with the Euros coming up as well, when we're really, really pushing for 77, and we're on 77 subscribers, really, really pushing for 100 subscribers. So if you want to help me out with that, be sure to subscribe. Give this video or stream a like, whatever you're doing. If you're watching it live, if you're watching it back, I'd really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to see you on Wednesday night. You better be there. You better flipping be there. See you on Wednesday night. Thank you so much for watching. Karthik, you're so welcome on. Find some place in the house, properly join, get on the stream, get all your delusional Liverpool thoughts in. You know, that's what this is all about. But yeah, honestly, I love that. I really wanna keep doing that again. So see you all on Wednesday night for another live stream. Goodbye.